Hello, my name is Nicholl, and thank you so much for taking the time to listen. Today I titled this message, When Loved Ones Deny, Lie, Blame. When loved ones deny, lie, blame. Have you ever tried to convince someone in your family of something that occurred? The evidence is there. The proof is staring them right between the eyes, and yet they say they don't believe. They will even go so far as to deny that you ever told them something, maybe days, weeks, years later. They will tell some lies, some stories of how they believed everything went down, or they will blame you for the faults. And for some of us, we sat there in what we saw very much was truth. We sat there in it. We could not express ourselves. We were so emotional because we were not believed. So, of course, if you're crying and you're upset, now that one who denies, lies, and blames is going to call you crazy. You look like a complete fool. What are you doing all that crying for? You want me to believe you, but just the other day you told a story, so why should I believe you? I don't even know why you're coming over here telling me this. What's your motive? What's your angle? What do you want from me? You always were the one who started trouble. Why can't you just leave well enough alone? I don't know. Why should I believe you? You've done some other things. And besides, that probably happened because of something you said, something you did, because you know how you are. Oh, I know for some of you all, this triggers some things, but hang on, because in that upset, in that disappointment, in that reflection of yesteryear, what you're going to do is you're going to take a look at the areas of your life where you are doing something similar to those closest to you, or those unresolved issues that you have yet to resolve because you are too busy doing the same thing that was done to you, denying, lying, and blaming. Come on, I'm talking to somebody. You see, when the truth shows up, you can either accept the truth for what it is, or you can turn your back on it. The very thing that we don't want to go through all over again, we have a way of putting that very thing on someone else. You weren't believed back in the day, so when somebody shows up and tells you the truth about something that you don't agree with, you end up denying, lying, and blaming just as it was done to you. Come on, I'm getting through to somebody, because you see, there is this problem that some people have that they don't want to admit to. They don't want to admit to the fact that they have a way of taking what they've gone through and putting it onto other people, or assuming other people are doing something to them that may not necessarily be accurate. But because I went through something 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 plus years ago, I assume that those individuals that's coming to me with a story, coming to me with an accusation that is accurate, not false. Oh, they are just doing what was done to me years ago, and I'm not going to put up with it. But when truth is truth, we don't fight up against it. But we have those who do fight up against it because they're not with the one true God. And yes, this message is spiritual. So continue to listen. They're not with the one true God. God is not just about love. I know some people like to talk about the love part of God, but he's also of truth. And when we're worshiping him in spirit, the Holy Spirit that was left behind when Jesus ascended unto heaven according to Acts, when we're worshiping him in spirit, we are also worshiping him in truth. We're not worshiping a God that tells lies or puts his people up to telling lies. Okay, now woman can make a choice in terms of telling the truth or telling a lie, but God is not going to put them up to telling them sorts of lies that some folks would assume, yeah, what's coming out of her mouth ain't nothing but a lie. No, what's coming out of one's mind is nothing but the persuasion to believe something that he or she wants to believe in. No, I don't want to believe the truth, so I'm going to run away from the truth, and I'm just going to focus in on whatever thing that pops up into my mind, whatever topic, whatever philosophy, whatever somebody said that I read in a book somewhere, you see, because the truth hurts so bad for some people. It's so cutting. The fact that your child is a liar like his daddy's a liar. The fact that your daughter is doing some deceptive things like the grandmother was, or the fact that your son is doing some manipulative things similar to what the mother was doing. You see, and when the truth hits you between the eyes, some people, what they'll do is they won't believe that it's happening. I can't believe that she's just like her crazy, you know what? I can't believe that he really turned out to be just like, and then you can fill in the blank. And so when it happens, some people will just say, no, that's not true. It's just not true. I'm not going to believe it. Go away, you see. And some people will think, okay, she's just going through the motions, but she'll come back around again and she'll believe what I'm telling her. And for some people, no, that's not true. They're not going to come back around. They believe whatever's in their mind, whatever the fantasy, whatever the voice in their head, whatever somebody else told them, that's what they're going to go along with because it feels comfortable. It's easy to digest. It's not easy to digest the fact that your son is acting just like that father. And that father got a long history of doing some real messed up sort of things. And so the mother says, no, not my son. Absolutely not. But it is your son. The police officer shows up. That's your son. Okay. The lawyer shows up. That's your son. You think about what the father went through, and now the son's going through the same thing. Oh my goodness. That's your son. And we can try to put a spin on all sorts of things. We could say, well, maybe it's because of the influences of the peers, and maybe it's because, maybe it's just innately within him to tell the lie, to deny, to blame, just like the daddy. You see, I know that some truth is the kind of truth that isn't always cutting. It simply is what it is, and you accept it, and you make a decision on whether or not you want to be in that person's life. And some people have chosen to be in the lives of those people who do deny, who do lie, and who do blame. You caught her many times denying something. You caught him plenty of times telling a lie. You caught the children doing a whole lot of blaming, and yet these people still remain in your life. This sort of thing takes place when you simply just don't want to give the person up. Okay. Because it's not that bad. You see, if it's not that bad, we tend to keep some people around because, I can deal with some of this. Okay. I could deal with it because it's over there and it's not over here. But I do have boundaries established if she shows up telling me another lie. She knows that this is it. Or, if he wants to start doing that blame game, I know how to shut down and walk away from him. If, he comes over here with this denying something that I got evidence and proof about, at the end of the day, I know how to go get some divorce papers. You see, there are those deal breakers that some people have when it comes to this denying, lying, and blaming. The person is still in the victim's life, and I will call him a victim because when it's repeatedly done and it's abusive, emotionally, physically, what have you, you are suffering. Okay. But the people on the outside looking in, some of them may have had enough of it. And so they stop calling, or they stop coming around, or they just create a fortress of boundaries to protect their emotions, okay, and their bodies, because some of these people who deny, lie, and blame are also violent types where, okay, I caught you in the lie. And I hate the fact that you're telling me this lie. All right, now you want to go there? What, you calling me a liar? I'll smack you until blah, blah, So they start with this violent talk, and then eventually they want to put their paws on you. And then that's when, of course, you're going to have to defend yourself, whether you call the police, or whether you have to stand up and fight. But whatever the case may be, these people who deny, who lie, who blame, the thing that may disturb some of you all who have went low contact or no contact is those that stay close to these people, eventually they are influenced. Okay. And it may be that one that you're cool with, you really like, you love them, right? But you see that they're starting to pick up on the ways of the demonic. Okay. Because a lot of these people have their share of demons that are in and around them. They motivate them to tell a story once again. That is not true. They feel some type of fear, worry, stress, and so they're going to deny that they did something or felt a certain way or an event took place. They will blame because they don't want to face the truth for what it is. So it's just easier just to create all sorts of confusion that is derived from blame. And in this way, you won't ever get to the truth because you got to go through all the arguing and the fussing and the fighting. And by the time you do get to the truth, you're so exhausted that you just give up. And that's what they're hoping that you'll do. Okay. I have went to the Lord repeatedly on being free of some things that are currently going on, because I realize the truth for what it is. Okay. So as some of you all are battling, I am too. And so what the Lord does though, is he has to emotionally, mentally get you ready for, what is ahead. If I'm not willing to submit to the one true God, as well as to those individuals who know more than I know, then what happens is I stay in the cage that the one who denies, lies, blames has set up for me rather than get free. Okay. These cages that people who are evil, just innately evil, set up, usually are set up in a way that looks nice. Their mannerisms appear to be polite, respectful. They tend to be the type of individuals that are charming, are described as loving, sweet, kind-hearted, what have you. But those people who use those positive words on evil folks are people who have yet to challenge the one who is evil. Okay. The one who uses denying, lying, and blaming as his or her weapons. Okay. They haven't challenged the individuals. And so when they haven't done this sort of thing, all they're going to see is the good side, never the dark side. Okay. But the day that you stand up and you question someone's motives, who's evil, who likes to deny, lie, blame, what have you, is the day that you become the enemy. You are no longer considered the friend or that good woman or good man, or I wish that you were more like so-and-so. You have questioned him or her on the evil that they do, on the information that's not factual. You told me the other day, A, B, and C. No, I didn't tell you that. Yes, you did. Remember when you said, I don't know where you got that information. I'm sorry. I never said that, but you did. We were right there. It was about 4:00, just after a meal, and you shared this information with me. Oh, I'm sorry. You're mistaken. See, that burns some of you all up just listening to that example, because you know it's been done to you. And it hurts when you know that the person is coming up with something manipulative only to get you to do what? Back down. Simply back down from what you know to be accurate, factual, true. They don't want to be called on the carpet about it. And so when they don't want to be called on the carpet about it, here we go again with the denying, lying, and blaming. I have another audio that's similar to this one, but I felt the need to come back to this particular subject because I know how it feels when you want very much to be believed. And I know how it feels when that person is capable of believing you and the information is there, but yet they won't do it. They won't do it. You see, because of whatever is going on within them. Sometimes people simply could choose the right thing to do, make the right decision, go along with what you're saying because it is factual and true, but they choose not to because they don't like you, or because they just simply have the choice to choose evil, choose bad. And so that's what they're going to go along with. Some people don't like to get along with other people, believe it or not. They claim that they do, but they don't. Because if they really like to get along, then they're going to choose a peaceful path. They're going to want to compromise. They're going to want to work toward a solution. And some people just don't think that it's the right thing to do. I know, right? For some of you all, you're saying, but I mean, why would you want to not do the right thing? Because for some people, they just have evil that is so heavy, so thick within them. It's a demonic suppression, oppression. Some people have not gotten over past grievances. So there's bitterness and resentment that's set up in them. And it's like a very foul odor. Okay. That you just want to get away from. I don't want to smell it. I don't want to be around it. It's everybody else smells it but them, you see. And they don't want to face the truth for what it is. It's interesting, as I'm talking, I see a particular entertainer in the spirit who's a rapper. He had been married and then later divorced. And it's interesting how people get themselves so mixed up in these occultic organizations that pride themselves on coming up with the perfect story to deny, to lie, to blame. Especially if it's a spouse involved who's questioning, the entertainer on his or her lifestyle or what they've been up to. Or some of these groups encourage the denying, lying, and blaming. And so in time, when you keep doing that, it starts to wear on one's emotions, on the relationship that he or she has built with someone else. And eventually you find yourself lonely. And this particular individual had his series of hurts. There was a documentary that was done on him. Had a series of just childhood wounds and trauma and upset and bad influences. And then turns his life around and promotes positivity and wanting to do what's right, but then finds that a lot of the old demons show up again. He has a choice to choose right, to choose the righteous path, but decides to go back to the old way and do the negative things and the demonic things that tears up the family structure. Okay. If you want to really conquer your demonic foes, whether they are internal or external, you have to be the one that faces the truth. You stay away from the denying, the lying, and blaming. You get to a point where all of these little psychological systems and step-by-step programs don't work for you. They simply don't work because you have free will. You have free will to go ahead and make the right choice. And for somebody who is determined, who is the stubborn one, who doesn't want to do right because the flesh says that is fun over here, that is better over here, that is good, is going to continue to make those mistakes or make those, I meant to do it. I meant to go over there and get my fleshly needs met. I meant to go over here and do this, that, and the other. But deny, lie, and blame comes in when they see the hurt in your eyes and know that they really did it this time. and that there is no turning back. There is no good old days any longer. So what they do is they continue to be messy. They continue to go down a dark path because, well, I can't save this relationship. She's not coming back around again. What we used to have is no longer there. It's clear. So I might as well just go ahead on and get my you-know-what on. That's how some people so-called resolve matters. They feel like, well, and she can go ahead on and find somebody else because she sees me for who I really am. She knows I'm not going to change. So I might as well just go ahead on and have a good old time. She'll eventually fall away. She'll go away. You got some women that do the same thing. So when denying, lying, and blaming shows up with our loved ones, let's summarize this. What we have to do is, number one, present the truth. But we don't have to present the truth where we're arguing and being emotional. But sometimes I get it. We are human and we are going to go there at times. But as long as that person knows that we know the truth, that's all that matters, because ultimately the decision is going to be ours in terms of continuing to have some type of connection to that person. For some people, they feel like they have no choice because they have children, because they have assets, mutual interests, what have you, tied to one another. I would suggest that you look into some legal help, find out what all you need to do to break some ties. I would also suggest that you look into some spiritual help, because chances are there is some demonic activity that is keeping some stuff going. I would also look into some practical counseling that would assist you in terms of getting you on that path toward freedom, where the dysfunction is left behind. Because a lot of times people get mixed up with folks who do a lot of this denying, lying, and blaming because of some frailties, some weaknesses, some cowardice within. You know, there's that, I'm scared. If I do this, then, he might do that, and I'm worried and I'm fearful, And so some people just tolerate that one who denies, lies, and blames on a regular basis due to physical issues, physical threats of violence. They have a lot of dependency on that particular individual. But there are those resources out there to help. If you're dealing with the drug addict who does a lot of the denying, lying, and blaming, there are those resources for him or her. If you're dealing with the alcoholic who does a lot of denying, lying, and blaming, there's resources for that person. If you're dealing with the one who has some other kind of addiction, there are those resources, because a lot of addictions are tied to denying, lying, and blaming. If I don't want you to know that I'm addicted to something, then I'm going to deny. I'm going to lie for it, and I'm going to blame you. And you say, what? Yeah, that's what people do. Okay. For some of you all, you have been through this firsthand, and you are free. You have been doing your share of cleansing as a result of all of the stuff that person put you through. Some folks have gone through this with parents. Okay. With grandparents, with aunts, uncles, cousins, sisters, brothers, you name it. People who just have a lot of stuff going on with them, and they're never straight up with you. They always are taking you around some story, or they're not saying anything at all because they know what's going to come out of their mouth is another lie. So it's best to keep quiet. Some folks aren't keeping quiet just because. They're keeping quiet because they know that they got a lot wrong with them on the inside. And they know that if they say something, the wrong's going to come out and you're going to expose them, and they don't want to be exposed on their wrong. So it's better just to shut up. But as we know, you can't have a quality relationship running around being quiet all the time either. At some point, you're going to be challenged and you're going to have to open up your mouth, right? Well, that one who likes to deny, lie, and blame, you know, when he or she opens up his or her mouth finally, it's going to be some of that going on. And you can either be the person who they accuse you of being crazy because you're trying so hard to prove a point, or you can be the one that says, I draw the line in the sand. Enough is enough. I'm finding some alternative ways to get free from this, because this is crazy. I'm not going to keep going through this with this fool. So that is it. I hope that someone feels encouraged, feels inspired to do something different. Know that you're not alone when it comes to this denying, lying, and blaming that goes on with some people. This is why I did have to personally cut some folks off, because I'm not going to keep telling you about something and then you tell me that my memory is mistaken and I don't know what I'm talking about and all that. Sometimes the people who do this sort of thing are brainwashed by their handlers, by their controllers. They will reinvent history. They will say, as I gave in an earlier example, that you don't know what you're talking about and all that. But you were there, you saw, you know, the evidence is there. There's plenty of people that were also there. So, you know, please, we can't argue with these liars. We simply can't. We got too much work to do in kingdom business. Take that name and give that name over to the one true God and let that person be dealt with, especially if this is happening at the workplace even. Let that person be dealt with in Jesus' mighty name. Please do check the description box for anything that might be of interest. You've been listening to YouTube, NM Enterprise 7. Subscribe today. Also, if you haven't given, well, you can do that. There are ways to do that right there in the description box as well. Feel free to subscribe, like, comment. Blessings to you.